Hey guys, it's Daniel. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today, I'm going to be working on my 2021 Toyota Tacoma Trail Edition, and we're going to be putting on a hidden bumper light bar. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're going to be installing this hidden bumper light bar, and it's going to go right underneath the main grille right here. Okay, so it's going to be above the black panel piece and the green grille surround here. Okay, so it's going to go right there, and to do that we're going to use a couple things. I bought these brackets from Cali raised LED, and I had a 32-inch light bar that I had laying around that we're going to use as well. I bought the wiring harness off of Amazon, and the button is an OEM style button for inside the cabin. I also got that from Cali raised LED. I'll have links to everything that I use in the comments. So let's go ahead and get started with what we got from Cali raised. Okay guys, so this is the stuff that I got from Cali raised LED. Let's go and open it up. So inside they have their little marketing card here. This is the switch with wiring harness. So you can see the switch does say bumper light. Let me get this in focus. There we go, I think. There we go. So it does say bumper light. It has a little truck icon there, and it is an OEM push style switch. So we'll set that aside. That's going to be one of the last things that we use. They did include hardware that is needed for the install of the brackets. We have 4 Allen screws, some flat washers, lock washers, and nylon locking nuts here. All right, so that's one thing we'll use. And then for the brackets themselves. So these are the brackets. There are 2, one for each side. And this is what it looks like. All right, and the other one is gonna look the exact same, just opposite or mirrored. Okay, so we have our 2 brackets here. So let's get started with the build. All right guys, so important to note about this, when we're installing this is going to be a direct bolt-on, which means we don't have to do any cutting, any trimming, any of that to the body of the vehicle. The only trimming that you'll have to do will be of trimming wires or stripping wires. Everything is bolt-on, so everything should come off nice and easily and install nice and easily as well. I am going to divide this up into 2 parts because the videos will probably take a little bit. One, to actually mount the light bar onto the truck physically, and then the second part will be the wiring of the light bar to the inside switch on the switch panel inside. So stay tuned for second part, but let's go ahead and get this light bar installed. Okay guys, so first thing we got to do is take off the grill. And the first part, taking off the grill, actually the hardest part is taking off the grill is the first part. And when I say hard, it's hard, all right? So the grill is gonna be held on by 2 10mm bolts and 2 push pins, all right? And they are located here. We have 10mm bolt and 10mm bolt, and right next to the headlights are the push pins. They are here, and the other one on the other side is here. All right, so let's go ahead and take those out. So for the 10mm bolts, I'm going to be using a 10mm socket, and then for the push pins, I'm going to be using a I'm going to be using a flathead screwdriver to pry those up. And here we go. set those aside. And flathead. All right, on to the next part. Okay, for those of you who have TSS sensors in the front grille, you're going to have a wiring harness, and that wiring harness is held on at the first point of the grille right here. So we're going to use a pair of needle nose pliers and just squeeze that together and push it through the hole. All right, on to the next part. Okay guys, so I've turned the camera around, so I am facing the engine bay. So let's take a look at what we just did. So we took out the 10mm bolts here on each side. Get that in frame. And we also took out the push pins here, and we undid the wiring harness that's here. We also have to unplug the wiring harness from the grill. Okay, so the wiring harness is here. It's just a push button that you push. It is on the bottom side. Get to it here. It's on the bottom side, so you'd have to go under here and press with your index finger and slide it out. And now the grill is ready to pull off. Okay, so now it's time to pull off the grill. So what you're gonna do first is pull up on these tabs here, these parts here. They're actually sitting, these white nuts are actually sitting inside, so you have to lift those up on either side. All right, now you can see the grill is just being held in by clips. So give it a good yank, good gentle yank on both sides, and your grill is free. All right, so next thing we'll be doing is we'll be taking off these pieces of plastic here. I guess they're air funnels, so they help the air go to the radiator as opposed to out here, I guess. But the only thing that's holding them on is a push pin, one here, and one on the holding the other side as well. So we'll go ahead and remove the push pin. So push pin. And unclips. And twist it out. And we'll do the other one. So let me show you where that push pin is. Push pin is right here. All right, let's get a little bit better look here. All right, so push pin out, pull it out from here, here, pull and twist towards the center, and out it comes. Okay guys, so now that we have the grill out of the way, we need to remove a couple more bolts, and then we'll be able to start installing the light bar, okay? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to remove the bolts that are holding this small radiator in, okay? There's two of them. They're 12mm bolts. There's one here, and there's one on the other side. The reason that you want to remove that is so that this can be pushed out of the way, because you'll see the clearance is really tight in here. So when we get the light bar in there, we're going to want as much clearance as possible. All right, so after we get that out of the way, we're going to remove the inner 14mm bolt on the crash bar, okay? This bolt is going to be very, very snug. So if you have a breaker bar, that's great. I would suggest a drive with a 1/2 inch so you don't snap any drives on your ratchets or power tools. All right, so let's go ahead and get that done. Okay guys, so now we're at the most technical portion of this install. Cali Rays has very specific instructions and specific order on how things should go in to make it as easy as possible an installation. All right, so let's see where we are right now, okay? So right now we have our inner crash bar nut removed. We have this cooler moved out of the way. All right, and that's on both sides. Okay, with that. Okay, so now it's time to put in the light bar. So we're going to be sliding in the light bar and just resting it on top of the crash bar. Okay, I'm going to do it and then I'll move the camera so you can see where it is. Okay, move this down. And with your light bar, you want to make sure that the wire leads are going to be on the driver's side to make it easier to wire later on. You don't want this on the passenger side, and you have to use, may possibly have to splice wires to make it long enough. So always make this go to the driver's side. All right, so what we're going to do is move this stuff out of the way, and we're going to slide the light bar underneath this piece here. All right, and we'll maneuver it down, okay, and place it on the crash bar. And when it's on the crash bar, if you want to put it lens down, so that it'll sit nicely, so that, you know, it doesn't roll anywhere. All right, so let's take a look at where it is. So it is down right here underneath the bumper here. So it's on the crash bar here. So this is a light bar and it's sitting on the crash bar. Okay, so these are the brackets. So the brackets aren't very intuitive on how they should go in. So they are mirrors of each other, okay? I can tell you that I know right off the bat, so there's holes in each end. So there's one here, there's a little bit larger one here, and then the largest one is here. The largest one is going to be where the light bar attaches, okay? The smallest one, which is down here, is going to be placed on the crash bar bolt. All right, and then the second one here, the one up top, is going to line up with the hole that we took the air dam, the push pin from the air dam. So let me show you what that looks like, because it's kind of confusing. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Okay. Okay, so the way that Cali Rays says to put this in is to put it in with the one with the largest hole pointing towards the center of the truck, let it down, and then rotate it and line up the hole here with the crash bar bolt. Move my arm out of the way here. Okay, line it up here, let it on, and let it rest there. Okay, we'll do that for the other side, off camera here. So again, it's going to be twist and let it rest. Okay, next thing we want to do is loosely put on all of the attachments. So we're going to first attach here, just thread it on, and then we're going to put on the supplied bolt, washer, and nut here. And then finally we'll attach it to the light bar. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we'll first put the nut on down here, and we're just threading it on just to keep the bracket from falling off. So you can see the bracket moves around a lot. We thread on the other side. Okay. Now we're going to get the hardware to mount the bracket to the hole that the push pin was in, that the air dam was attached to. It's going to go here, and let's go get that hardware and put it in. Okay, so with the hardware that's provided, there is an Allen wrench bolt. There are 4 washers with large holes and 2 washers with small holes. The washer with the small hole will go on the bolt first. All right, then the bolt will go through the hole, through the bracket and the hole on the frame. The washer with the large opening on top of that, and then the locking nylon nut. And again, this is just going to be finger tight. So you can see it's in there and it's not going anywhere. Let me do that to the other side. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is where we're at. We have top bolts here, are the bolt washer, then the bracket into the hole here with a washer and nut on the back side, and you can see that it is very loose. Okay, we also have the bottom of the bracket on the crash bolt with the nut on, again very loose, and you can see how much play there is with this. Okay, Cali Rays was very, very specific in saying that it should be very loose, because that's going to make the install a lot easier. Okay, and we're getting to the most, I don't want to say difficult, but it's going to be the most trying portion. Okay, and that is going to be attaching the bracket here to the light bar there. Okay, so it may help to have a helping hand with you, but this is how it's going to work. So again, everything is going to be threaded very loosely. Okay, we're going to be using the supplied Allen bolt with a flat washer, and then there is a lock washer. Okay, that's going to go on the outside of the bracket here and here, and then the light bar will be brought to it. And again, everything is going to be nice and loose. All right, so I'm going to do this off camera because I don't have enough hands to hold and to show this, and I will be right back. Okay, so that was an ordeal. So it is very frustrating, and you may get some fun kisses from your truck, but the light bar is in. I did have to get my wife, who has little fingers and little hands, to help me on one side, on the driver's side actually. That's where these came from. But the light bar is in, and we're ready to start reassembling, tightening things down and reassembling. So let's take a look. So the light bar is here, it is in, everything is still nice and loose. Light bar here, hopefully you can see it. So it is that way on both sides. So now we're going to reinstall the 12mm bolts that hold this guy on, and then we will start tightening down the bracket and the light bar. So just to give you a preview of the light bar, it's going to come right through there. And we're going to change the pitch and make sure it's centered and all that good stuff as we tighten it up. All right, so let's let me go ahead and do that, and I'll get right back with you. Okay, so the 12mm bolts are back in place. That little, I think it's a transmission radiator, is bolted back in place. So now it's time to tighten down the bracket. First thing that Cali Ray suggests is to tighten down the 14mm nuts first. And as you're doing that, pull all the way up on the bracket. They said that typically if you pull all the way up, it's going to be centered in that opening on the bumper. So let's go ahead and do that and see if they're right. Okay guys, so the light bar and brackets are fully installed, tightened down, ready to go. This is what it looks like. So let me take the phone off the stand here. Okay, so that is the light in the bumper. All right, and you can see torque down. This one's good. This is good. We have this guy back with the 12mm bolts, and this side is good as well. So now the next part is wiring. So I have zip tied the wire here. So there's a wire coming from the light bar. I zip tied it here, and part 2 will be coming up soon. See you guys then.